Good morning, this is Aaron Fuller with Intro to Police, and for my final song project, I chose to go with the song Whiskey for My Men, Beer for My Horses, sung by Toby Keith and Willie Nilsson, which is a wonderful, great song. After listening to Toby and Willie sing the song, which is about a father and son being on the police force, being detectives, and with Toby's partner, I definitely learned a lot about what it is for policemen to be detectives and their job in action. We're going to start out with the song with the lyrics that says, "Well, man, come on, 6 o'clock news, somebody's been shot, somebody's been abused, somebody blew up a building, somebody stole a car, somebody got away, and somebody didn't get too far." With this first part of the song, these are all huge crimes that do happen almost every single day in America. Somebody's got shot. That one's obvious where someone's shooting people. Somebody's been abused, domestic disturbance, where two people are interrupting the peace of the dwelling that they live or anywhere else that they are living. Someone blew up a building, terrorist attack. Somebody stole a car, which is grand theft. Somebody got away, which is fugitive, running on the run from the cops. And then somebody didn't get too far as the cops catching him. The second part of the song is, "Grandpappy told my pappy back in my day, son, a man had to answer for the wicked things that he had done. They take all the rope in Texas and find a tall oak tree, round up all them bad boys, and hang 'em high in the street for all the people to see." In the early days, back in the 1800s, early 1900s, if anyone was caught doing any of these crimes, shooting, stealing, any of that, the punishment was death, and they would hang you from the tree for everyone to see, or they would even hang you in public in the middle of town square for everyone to see. Texas was the first state in 1835 to actually have Texas Rangers, who were their form of local law enforcement. And then in 1845 was actually the first state to have a police force. And then it continues on with, "And justice is the one thing you should always find. You got to settle up your boys, you got to draw a hard line. When the gun smoke settles, we'll sing a victory tune, and we'll all meet back at the local saloon." So essentially, for being a police officer, you got to just take it in, saddle up, and you got to put on your game face and get the work done, and then once it's done, you can sit back and relax because you caught the bad guy. The last part of the song I want to go over is, the second part is, "We got too many gangsters doing dirty deeds, too much corruption and crime in the streets. It's time that the long arm of the law put a few more in the ground, send them all to their maker, and he'll set them down." So what that is meaning is that we have too many gang-related shootings and stuff going on right now for like initiations or someone across them. In the most recent news, the Portland high school shooting, where they are saying that that's gang-related, where someone just drove up and shot 4 innocent high school students. Too much corruption and crime in the streets. Right now I could just pull up my cell phone and type in the local news and find some sort of crime that happened in Boise, Meridian, or in Idaho. The biggest one is the cow that escaped down in Pocatello, where I had to use the police force to get the cow. For the crime that deserves the death penalty, those crimes are usually the horrible crimes like murder, mass murders, and stuff like that. I worked with a girl named Crystal Searles. You can Google her. She's all over the internet. She was about 12 years old when she was attacked by a mass murderer, Tommy Linsells, in a home that she was staying at. She was in the room with the girl that was actually the target and was killed. Her name was Katie Harris. He was married, had 4 kids, had a job. No one ever suspected him of doing anything. He just flew under the radar completely, and when she survived and she was able to pick him out of the lineup, then they brought him in, they arrested him, brought him in for questioning. They asked if he would like a lawyer, and he said no. And he confessed to everything, and he said over 3 decades he killed over 20 people, up to his count at that point. And here in the last year, the Texas finally decreed him to be put to death, and so he got the death penalty. And so that's the song part, and then when you watch the music video, it shows much more in action. It shows the detectives actually working, putting the clues together, trying to find the criminal. So the song is about how a father and son come together to try to catch this serial killer that's killing a bunch of prostitutes in the city. And so it starts out with a reporter reporting on another murder of a prostitute at the crime scene, which is where the body was found. And the two detectives are leaving the crime scene, puzzled, trying to get a profile on the guy. And so he decides to call his dad for backup, and the partner's like, no, your dad's not going to do it, he's retired. And it shoots his dad, who's almost an old Texas Ranger, out on his ranch, and then he says that he would help him. And the job of a detective, it's not like you see on Law and Order or any of the TV shows or anything. It's a little bit more complex than that. They use the MCI system, which is the Managing Criminal Investigation, where it offers guidelines and recommendations to explain the role of patrol officers to include investigation responsibilities, and also a method of criminal investigation by including solvability factors, case screening, and all that. In the song, you actually see all of the solvability factors in play. And so you ask the 7 questions. Are there any witnesses? Is the suspect known? Can the suspect be identified? Is there any vehicle description? Is there physical evidence? Will the complainant cooperate in the investigation? And can he properly be identified? And you see all of these factors throughout the entire music video. You see Toby Keith and his partner going around to all the other ladies and showing pictures, trying to get a profile on the guy. He's not known. He's kind of flying under the radar. He isn't able to be identified because he attacks all of his victims from behind and slits their throats. Physical evidence, he did leave a couple of fingerprints behind, and they can't find him, so they don't know at this point if he's cooperative with investigation. And then he was properly identified through a series of working. And then throughout the song, you also see Toby Keith and Willie Nelson partnering up, and they have boxes and boxes of evidence that they're trying to put together, trying to build a profile. They have a computer and the chalkboard, and they just spend hours and hours and hours piecing everything together. And then they finally get a break, and they finally find out what they're looking for, and they find the guy. And so another part of the detective's work is going undercover, trying to catch a serial killer. And so that's what they do. And so the partner goes undercover, and everyone else is surrounding him, waiting for the guy to fall into the trap, and with surveillance and everything else going on. And then once he makes his move, they start fighting, and then he sees everyone running in, and so he flees, becoming a fugitive who is wanted by police. And Toby Keith eventually catches up to him. They fight, but in the end it's Willie Nelson who actually makes him stop, and then they arrest him. And then now that they got the guy, they're able to go ahead and celebrate, which is whiskey for my men, beer for my horses. So I definitely recommend to listen to the song a couple of times so then you get the full meaning of it and see what the true message is. And thanks for watching.